This video will prepare you for a quiz on nouns and verbs. One function of a noun is as the subject of a sentence, who or what the sentence is about, or who's completing the action. Ted is a subject. Democracy, an abstract noun, can also be a subject. If we have a complete subject like the zebra herd, watch out for nouns that function as adjectives like zebra. The actual simple subject there is herd. There can be compound subjects, where more than one noun use the same verb. There might be prepositional phrases in the beginning. Don't pay any attention to those. Who actually guzzled the coffee? That was Bill. In the passive voice, our true subject is at the end. Who rebound the books? The librarians did. A second function of nouns is as the direct object. So, I threw the ball. Ball answers the question what or who relating to the verb threw. Kenneth answers the question who relating to the verb loves. All direct objects follow action verbs, whether they be physical or mental actions, and there can be compound objects or multiple direct objects for the same action verb. Johnny questioned two different people about his missing phone, and he might not stop there. At the zoo, bananas were flung by the snow monkeys. This is written in the passive voice. That's why the direct object is here at the beginning. It's the snow monkeys that actually did the flinging, and bananas were what was flung. Pay close attention that we don't make mistakes with adverbs or prepositional phrases. Because if you say some rabbits hop quickly, does quickly answer what or who regarding the hopping? And the answer is no. It might tell you how they hop, but that's a different question. Also, quickly is not a noun. Similarly, if Corey fell down the hole, that tells you where Corey fell. And hole is a noun, but it's the object of that preposition. So this is not a direct object. A third function of nouns, objects of the preposition. If you eat pie in the morning and evening, we have two objects for this same preposition in, and it answers the question of when you eat pie. By the ocean, life is peaceful tells you where life is peaceful. Ocean is the object for the preposition by. The economists from Harvard tell you a little bit more about which specific economist you're talking about. And from is the preposition, Harvard is the object. In this last sentence, we have multiple prepositional phrases, near that neighborhood, with snow shovels, in their hands, and from their homes. The fourth and final function of a noun that shows up on our quiz is a subject complement. So subject complements must connect to linking verbs like were or is or looks. And what they do is they describe a state of being, or in other words, they describe the subject and no action is completed. Experts describes they. Chef describes Allison. Professor describes Mr. Wilson. And hilarious describes they, or terrific describes outfit. These last two are not nouns though. So if I ask you to identify a noun functioning as a subject complement, hilarious and terrific are no good. But experts, chef, or professor all work. Pay close attention not to say Allison is talented or Mr. Wilson is history. These are the adjectives that describe the true subject complement. Not on the quiz, but you'll need to know later, appositives. When you have a noun or a noun phrase after a noun, sometimes surrounded by commas, it describes or gives more specific information about that previous noun. That's called an appositive. Sometimes they are essential, and they don't require commas. Either way, they function kind of like an adjective to describe the noun before it. What's tricky is the actual subject of the sentence would be teacher or Joe. Next, there are four main types of verbs. Action verbs are broken into two categories. Those that take a direct object, we call them transitive, and those that don't, we call those intransitive. So, Frisbee is a direct object. It answers the question, tossed what? So is smoke. So are Scout or Tom Robinson. So is men. Every one of these action verbs has a direct object. They are all transitive. Let's look at some intransitive action verbs. Henry sneezed. Is there a noun afterward that answers the question what or who? There's certainly not. But that doesn't mean that it's automatically transitive if there's something after the verb. For example, the senators voted today. Does today tell you voted what or voted who? It doesn't. It tells you when. And today is an adverb. It's not a direct object, so this is still intransitive. We can also throw in some prepositional phrases here between the subject and the verb that might confuse things. The snow on my lawn melted. Melt is still intransitive. If you say Ted sings in the shower, that's still intransitive. There's not a noun after sings that answers the question what or who. In other words, a prepositional phrase is not a direct object. The only noun here, shower, is the object of that preposition. It goes with the preposition, not with the noun. Same thing with Edgar smells after hockey practice. Practice is the object of the preposition after. So the prepositional phrase is not a direct object, and this is still intransitive. Though I suppose this is more of an intransitive linking verb. Though we don't have a description, it's implied that he smells bad. In 33, there's an adverb and a prepositional phrase, but neither one of those is a direct object. So Bruce chews loudly at dinner. Chews is still intransitive. Linking verbs is the next category. Broadly, there are forms of to be, there are states of being, and there are some senses. Now there's a few more for each of these categories, but that's the general outline. If I say that Patricia is happy, happy here is an adjective that describes Patricia, so that's a linking verb, is. Over the years, Larry has become a talented attorney. Become is my linking verb. It connects Larry to the description, attorney. In Paul looks nervous, nervous is an adjective that describes Paul. In Elena smells wonderful, wonderful is an adjective that describes Elena. In John was a famous actor, actor is a noun that describes John. The tricky part are these verbs that show up both in the linking verb and the helping verb category. And here's one way to tell the difference. If you see Elizabeth is tired, tired looks like a verb. It has that ed ending. But here it's a participle that's functioning as an adjective. There's not any action taking place here, so therefore is a linking verb. The same thing is true of the baby's cries are annoying. Here, there's no action. It's a description or a state of being. So annoying describes the cries. Helping verbs include forms of the verbs be, do, have, and a series of other helping verbs called modal auxiliary verbs. Auxiliary is just Latin for helping. The general pattern here is that we have a main verb and then some number of helping verbs in front of them. So the helping verbs are actually in front of the main verb. John has been running all night. Has and been are helping, and running is the main verb. May, have, made, will, blame. Notice there's an adverb in the middle of this simple predicate, but it's not part of the simple predicate. Have completed is correct. Usually is an adverb and should not be included. If I ask you for the simple predicate of 45, should tell is the right answer. Should is the helping verb, tell is the main verb, and always is an adverb, so we don't include it. Notice when we ask a question, the helping verb might be farther away from the main verb. If we rewrote this as a statement, however, it would be, you will be late for class tomorrow, and things go back to normal. Notice 47 is written in the passive voice, but also in this statement, I was shocked by the live wire. It's tempting to say was is a linking verb, and shocked describes I. But if you actually think about what's going on here, an action is occurring. Someone's being shocked. So the live wire is actually doing the shocking, and the I is receiving that shocking. So in this situation, was is a helping verb, and shocked is an action verb. Will be eating steak on Thursday has two helping verbs and a main verb, eating. And notice in 49, which was very similar to an earlier example, we had the baby's cries are annoying, where are was a linking verb. But here, the baby's cries are annoying the tired travelers. So there's an action occurring. In this case, are is a helping verb, and annoying is an action verb. And since there's a recipient of that action, a direct object, this would be transitive. When it comes to helping verbs, it's useful to know the 12 tenses in the English language. There's more than just past, present, and future. And there's more than just the simple past, present, and future, I should say. There can be continuous, perfect, or perfect continuous forms. And they involve specific participles and helping verbs. Notice, in the past tense we say did for a verb like do. But the past participle, used in the perfect forms, is had done, or have done, or will have done, which implies that this action is completed. However, in the continuous form, like was doing or am doing or will be doing, this action is ongoing, and we don't use the form of the verb do, we use the present participle doing. And here in the perfect continuous, we put the two together, had been doing, have been doing, and will have been doing.